Now, remember how I said that sometimes there are forces beyond your control that can affect your spell? Well, in this situation, that force was that man's free will. In other words, he wanted to be single, period, with the T on the end. And no amount of love spells I performed could make him give me more than he wanted to give. And trust me, I tried. If you've ever had a spell fail miserably, or maybe just not work the way you wanted, the reason may have been that your intention was out of alignment. So tune into this episode of You Are the Spell and learn how to make your spells more powerful. I'm Aunt Carla, and this is the You Are the Spell podcast. Over the next few episodes, I'll be focusing on how to create your own personalized and powerful spells. In other words, magical spells that only you could create. In this episode, we're going back to the basics, the foundation, because this is where magic begins. When you get this part right, you have the best chance of seeing your desired outcome come to life. Quick disclaimer. Now, no matter how well you perform a spell and follow the directions, you will not manifest everything that you ask for all the time. Sometimes there are forces and circumstances at work that are simply beyond your control. Other times, the reason that you didn't get something that you really wanted is that you were being protected from a situation that wasn't good for you. Now, that doesn't mean that you're any less powerful than you believe you are. You just didn't have all the facts, and there may have been an ancestor or other spirit guide pulling some strings for you. But just know that you are never at the mercy of fate and that you have the power to create powerful change in your life. So let's get started. Every spell begins with an intention. In other words, you want something. This is also called a desired outcome. Now, the purpose of performing a spell is manipulating forces so that your desired outcome happens. This should be the easiest part of your manifesting journey, but that isn't always the case. When you need money to pay your rent, your desire is straightforward. You know how much you need and how soon you need it, so you get your green candle, you perform a spell, and somehow the money or a solution to getting the money arrives. But when it comes to things like getting a new job or finding a soulmate, our desires can get confused or muddled. So it's important that your intention is specific. And being specific means being able to articulate your desire before you receive it and to be able to identify it when it arrives. For example, if you want a new job, what kind of job do you want? How much money do you want to make? What kind of environment and coworkers do you want? Because if you don't ask, you definitely won't get. And if you're not clear, you will get things that you did not expect, and definitely things that you did not want. But when it comes to love, however, you want to be specific in the qualities that you want in a partner and in your relationship. However, I wouldn't recommend that you ask for a specific person, because you really don't know if the person that you want and the kind of relationship that you want are the same. And by focusing on a specific person, you may accidentally block yourself from someone who'd be even better for you. Well, I know this from personal experience, as I spent 7 years pursuing a serious relationship with someone who didn't want one with me. Now, remember how I said that sometimes there are forces beyond your control that can affect your spell? Well, in this situation, that force was that man's free will. In other words, he wanted to be single, period, with the T on the end. And no amount of love spells I performed could make him give me more than he wanted to give. And trust me, I tried. But when I shifted my desire from wanting this one specific guy to wanting a particular kind of relationship, such as one where my partner loved me and wanted to be with me and marry me, that's when things changed. And that is also when I added a disclaimer to my spell. I added this or something better. Because no matter how intuitive we think we are, we can't know everything that's out there. So by adding the phrase this or something better to my request, I invited the universe to surprise me with something beyond my understanding. And sure enough, that is when I met the man who fell in love with me, wanted to be with me, and married me. And I am so happy that I did that. And by the way, that original guy, he is still single. His desired outcome was to remain single. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. So, step one of creating your spell is creating a good intention, setting a great intention. So be specific about the things that you must have while also allowing for something better to show up. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my free 5-day Spellcraft email mini course. The link is in the description below. Another part of setting your intention is making sure that you are in alignment with your desire before performing a spell. Sometimes we will say that we want something, but we may have fears or a hidden agenda that makes us ambivalent. In other words, wishy-washy. Being in alignment means that you are taking actions that match your request. For example, if you wanted to lose weight, but you refuse to change your eating habits or start exercising, any weight loss that somehow occurred would be temporary. A friend once wrote the phrase weight loss on a bay leaf, and she burned it, and she did nothing else. And what happened? Well, she ended up catching some kind of stomach bug, and she lost 10 pounds. But after she recovered, she gained 20 pounds back. Dun, dun, dun. And in another similar story, a guy friend of mine was overwhelmed with decluttering his place. So he did a spell for a clean home, but he sat back and he did nothing else. So what happened? He had a bed bug infestation, which required a major cleaning effort, not to mention expense. So when you hear the phrase, be careful what you wish for, it means to be mindful of what you're asking for, as well as what you will do in order to get it. Magic is magic, but you are still required to meet your desire with action in the real world. Getting into alignment with your intention may require you to do some what I call pre-work. And this part may take longer than the actual spell, but doing it gives you more confidence in your spell. So I want you to consider that everything that you do before the actual ritual is still a part of the spell. So the more thought and the energy that you put into these different actions, the stronger that your magic will be. In other words, half-assed magic equals half-assed results. If you'd like to tighten up your alignment, there are some things that you can do. For example, meditation, that is a great one. So before creating your ritual, before doing your spell, make time to sit in stillness and listen to any messages from your intuition. Listen to your inner voice and pay attention to any divine downloads that enter your consciousness. Think about what your desired outcome might look like and how it may affect your life. And anytime you get those thoughts, make notes in your journal or your book of shadows. Another thing I suggest is divination. And I recommend doing a reading with tarot or oracle cards to get additional guidance on your intention. If you prefer to use runes, tea leaves, a pendulum, or any other divination tool, that's totally fine. And if you don't know how to do divination yourself, or maybe if you feel that you are too close to it, you can also consult with a spiritual friend or professional. Another tactic is a spiritual bath. And taking a spiritual bath is another way to put yourself and or your spirit guides on alert that you are ready for transformation to occur in your life. Now, if you don't have access to a bathtub, you can also do this in a shower. And the goal of this bathing experience is not to cleanse yourself of dirt, but to take your time and to focus on your intention. You can light a small candle beforehand and see your intention as it has already if it has already occurred. And when the water drains, imagine your obstacles going down the drain along with the water. I like to think of a spiritual bath as a spell before the spell. And as a result, it helps you focus on the actions that you need to take. Finally, one of my other favorite things to do before a spell, if I need, is a clarity candle spell. When you find yourself unsure on which direction to go, which to choose, maybe you're choosing between staying and going, if you need to find out about a particular situation, performing a clarity candle will show you the things that you need to know. Sometimes you'll discover that you actually wanted something else, or perhaps you don't really want this desire after all. Sometimes we do that to ourselves. And all of these actions, whether it's meditation, divination, a spiritual bath, or a clarity candle, all of these actions encourage you to put focused thought into your desired result. So if you've been feeling ambivalent or wishy-washy about your desire, gaining clarity on your desire will save you time and from disappointment. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my free 5-day Spellcraft email mini course. The link is in the description below. Before I wrap up today's episode, I want to touch on the myth of worthiness when it comes to magic. When I teach classes on magic and spells, some students mention having a hard time with feeling worthy of what they're asking for, that they feel that they need to deserve it. Is that you? Do you feel that way? And the thing is, many of us were subjected to programming, whether it was religious or in schools, that programming that taught us that we must be good people or somehow be worthy and deserving of what it is that we receive. And that keeps us kind of stuck when when we want to manifest, something in particular. But when you think about it, there are so-called bad people who do what they want every single day, and they are still manifesting their desires. I'm sure if you think about it really hard, you can think of at least one or two people who this might describe. And so these villains, if you will, they do bad things to others and the planet, and they still get what they want. They don't stop to ask themselves if they're good people or if they're worthy of whatever it is that they want. And there's a lesson here. I realized, I understood that being good or worthy or deserving, it has nothing to do with manifesting what you want. Nothing at all. You just need to want it and go for it. There's no judgment here. So if you've been waiting for permission to put your magic behind a special desire, for the love of all that's sacred, please do it. You are already good, worthy, and deserving, just as you are. So set that intention and put it out there, because you are magic. If you want to learn more about writing your own spells, sign up for my free 5-day Spellcraft email mini course. The link is in the description below.